Good morning and welcome to this Saturday's edition of In the Garden with Joyful Living. I am Kimberly Dixon. Please share the video. I apologize. I am a couple of minutes late this morning. Time got away from me. I was on schedule. I promise you I was. So while we're waiting for a couple of people, good morning, Lori. While we're waiting for a couple of people to join, I'm going to go ahead and do the walkthrough of the garden as we do every Saturday morning. So the first thing I want to show you is my herbs. I sit in this chair intentionally because the mint is doing wonderful. The oregano, thyme and so are lemon balm and cilantro. But when I'm sitting in this chair, I can smell herbs the entire time. But everything is doing well. That's the lettuce and the arugula, the chives. You smell those too. And my spinach, pretty soon I'm going to be able to have some spinach, some baby spinach to eat. And you know, there's my breakfast, my green smoothie and my coffee, my rosebud, my baby. Say good morning, Pumpkin. Say good morning. And the lavender, I don't know, the lavender is showing some distress, but I'm going to work on it. But the thing that I'm most pleased with is, I don't know if you can see those, but we have tomatoes and we have an abundance of flowers. So that means that we're going to have even more tomatoes. And of course, the rose bushes are doing very well. You can smell them when you're out here. And in addition to the tomatoes that we've got coming in, we've got zucchini starting to show up. Let me see if I can find that baby zucchini. There it is. See that baby back there? Y'all hear that? It's a baby zucchini. Yes, Silas loves attention. And the red pepper's doing well, and the cucumber and the green beans. You know, I planted the green beans not so that I could have enough green beans to cook, but simply because I wanted it to travel up this little trellis and just really be pretty. And it is not disappointing. Good morning, Tamika. It's always glad to see you and seeing you let your light shine. But just finished with the quick run through of seeing how everything is doing in the garden. Pardon me while I walk through the bushes. Excuse me. So you guys know that every week I pray to God what it is that he wants me to talk about, and that's what I discuss on Saturday morning. Well, this week he gave me a topic early in the week, and I was like, okay. I had written it all out and printed it and was prepared to give it this morning. Well, in the middle of the night, he changed that. So this morning, the topic is keep showing up. And I know that I discussed this sometime last year, I think. But I'm going to talk about it again because if he said, and he gave me this in the middle of the night to do it again. So when it comes to showing up in our life, well, I'm going to tell you a little story. In 2017, excuse me, so I feel like I got something in my eye. I was finished with all my surgeries. I'd had 11 total. Good morning, Talisha. I had both my knees replaced, but my walk was bad. My balance wasn't good, and I zigged and zagged when I walk, and I couldn't walk without looking down at the ground because I'd been doing that for 45 years. And I had been praying, God, help me rebuild my broken body. That's all I kept praying. Well, I showed up at an event. Good morning, Earl. Gosh, I haven't seen you in years. I hope you're doing well. And I kept praying to God, help me rebuild my broken body. Well, I went to an event, and just so happened that night, the man that was sitting beside of me was a personal trainer. And when I sat down, he said, can I share something with you that God gave me to give you? And meeting that man changed my life. His name was Alvin Miles, and he is still my personal trainer today. And what God told him, without him ever knowing me and haven't ever talked to me, that God sent him to help me rebuild my broken body. And I knew that was a message from God because he used the exact same words or the phrasing that I was using in my prayers when he talked to me that night. So it wasn't something I hadn't already heard. So I met with Alvin that first Saturday, and I was scared. Didn't know what to expect, and I was nervous. But I knew that this was something that I had to do for me. So upon leaving that first time, now I showed up thinking we were going to do a consultation, which meant we were going to talk and do a little bit. We had a workout, and he didn't show any pity on me or any mercy. But at the end of that workout, I made a commitment to myself that I was going to keep showing up. And that meant showing up when I was tired, from a long work week, when I was sore, when I just didn't want to be there. And that was almost 2 years ago, and I've been showing up ever since then. So I'm going to refer to my notes this morning because, again, I said that God gave this to me in the middle of the night last night. So I literally just wrote this out. So the first thing you want to do is show up when you are afraid. I was afraid to show up for those workout sections because I knew my body was weak and it had gone through a lot of trauma, and I've got 2 artificial knees, and some of the things that he was asking me to do, I didn't think I was capable of doing it, let alone strong enough to get through a whole workout. And in many workouts, and still most workouts, by the end of the workout, I'm praying, God, please help me get through this. Please don't let me fall out. Please don't let me vomit, because he works me hard. But I showed up even when I was afraid, because we've never done the same workout twice. We get comfortable in our life, and when we operate in that comfort zone, we stay stuck there. But if we keep showing, good morning, Iris. If we keep showing up when we are afraid, then we accomplish major things in our life. I remember the first time I went hiking, no less, it was in the Blue Ridge Parkway at Graveyard Fields. My goal that day was not to have the ambulance come get me, because we were deep in the woods. Good morning, Sean. And as we were walking in, we were going down this big descent, and I realized that in order for me to get out of there, I was going to have to walk back up that hill. And this is the first hike I'd ever went on. But if you look on my website today, there are pictures of me standing on the Blue Ridge Parkway, deep in the woods, smiling, hot, tired, and sweating. But I did it in spite of being afraid. So show up when you are afraid. Then you want to show up when you're tired. So sometimes there are many days when I showed up for my workout just tired from a long work week. But I showed up because my goal was more important to me than the temporary feelings that I had in the moment. Now, I'm not talking about when you're exhausted and your body just needs to rest. That's a different story altogether. What I'm talking about is more along the lines of I'm just tired, and it's an excuse not to do something, and it's just lazy. Because let's just be honest, we all have those moments when we just lazy, when we're like, I'm tired, I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to do it. So we don't do our workout, we don't do our meal prep, or whatever your goal is. We don't log onto our laptop and do the work we need to do for our business. We don't make that phone call to somebody that we haven't talked to in ages, that we know we need to do to maintain this friendship, this relationship. We have to show up even when we're tired. And you want to show up when you're feeling vulnerable. So there, sometimes when I went to work out, I remember one particular incident. It was something going on personally, and I was just feeling emotionally raw and vulnerable. And my impulse was not to go, because when I work out that hard, it strips away all the layers. And it's something about when your body is working to that level that I can't really put it into words. Something happens where it just peels all the layers away. And that particular day, I couldn't get into the workout. And Alvin was like, okay, Kim, what's going on? You're not punching. And even when I say punch hard, you're punching, but you're not punching the way I know you can. Tell me what's going on. And before I could tell him anything, I started to cry. When we show up and we are vulnerable, it allows us to grow. It allows us to release emotion and energy. But men and women it has been so deeply ingrained in us. Part of it was, as an African American person, part of that was survival. But it has so deeply ingrained in us to not be vulnerable, to not show emotion, that we oftentimes don't know how to do it. But when we show up, even when we're feeling vulnerable, it improves our communication skills. It improves our ability to relate to our own emotions, because some of those things I didn't even realize I was feeling. But we work out, I'm sweating, I'm tired, and he say what's going on, and I spill my guts. And I promise you, I have cried more with that man than I have with my own father, just because of the extent to which the body is being tested. Then the mind is free to say what it is I'm really feeling. And I apologized to him once. I was like, I'm sorry. And then, of course, this has been over the course of 2 years, and it's maybe 3 or 4 times. But I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I don't know why I keep crying. He's like, because you need to. Let it go. That's the reason we're here. Good morning, Yoshida. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Thank you for joining us. Guys, please share the video if you're getting anything out of this. And then we want to show up when our body is tired. Let me tell you, this past Tuesday, the first exercise he had me do was a squat with a medicine ball, and the set was 100. He gave me plenty of time to do it, but he's like, complete this set of 100. And while he worked with a runner, they were running a hill. He's like, we'll be back. By the time we get back, you should be just finishing your 100. And I was so glad that was finished. Well, when they got ready to take the second run around, he said, okay, do your second set. I was like, second set of what? He's like, a second set of 100. I was like, Alvin, I can't. He was like, yes, you can. So I proceeded to do that second 100. I was tired. I kept having to stop. And then when he came back that time, he's like, well, you did a great job. I want to commend you on it. He's like, but you are doing that's not the exercise I showed you to do. I was like, what? He's like, I need you to do 30 more of the exercise that you're supposed to be doing. So in total, on that first exercise, I did 230 squats with a medicine ball. Now, after that, we did 4 additional exercises that were all sets of 100 as well. When I tell you my body is tired, Wednesday and Thursday, I could barely move because from the back of my knee to the top of my shoulders was so sore. I mean, every muscle, every fiber. It was difficult for me to sit down, and it was even harder for me to get up. So when you're working out, show up when you're sore, when you're tired. It's like, because I'm still a little bit sore this morning, but guess what? I have a workout at 10 o'clock. And when I made that a commitment to myself that I was going to show up regardless of whether I was tired, sore, just didn't want to be there, I've kept that, because that was a promise I made to me. And oftentimes in our lives, that's the first promise we'll let go of. We'll make a commitment to ourselves, but we are more committed to other people. Good morning, Janelle. And the things that are in their lives, our children, our job. We show up for that's amazing. We show up for our job every day on time. We stay until they say we can go home. But when we make that commitment to ourselves, we won't do it. We are more committed to other people and other things than we are to us. So show up even when you're tired for yourself, because you show up for work when you're tired. And just, I have never understood why people show up for church 30 and 45 minutes late. You don't do that on your job. So why are you doing it with church or any other thing? Show up for yourself. Good morning, Kimberly. Gosh, you did a phenomenal job on the Mother's Day bus tour. I looked at the video, saw all the pictures, and I was there for the first part of it. I wish I had been able to be a part of the entire event, because that was simply phenomenal. But then we want to show up. I'm trying to refer to my notes, because I told y'all God gave me this morning when I got up. Show up when you feel like you've done all you can do, because showing up is half of the battle. When we check out on life, we start to just go through the motions, and eventually over time we start to feel like we are on a hamster wheel, just doing the same thing over and over and over. We're getting up in the morning, we're going through the same routine, but at the end of the day, we haven't accomplished anything. We have been busy, but we haven't produced anything out of our life. So that means that, we got to show up when we don't want to sometimes. Just to stay present in life, stay focused on the moment. Every month, many of you know that I still work. I work for Blue Cross Blue Shield, and in that, every month in our team meeting, I give a team tip. Well, we're tired now. We've been doing an extraordinary amount of work for a long time, but my team tip this morning, on Thursday, was to stay in the moment. Don't look at what I got to accomplish throughout the whole day. Stay focused in the moment and focused on the one task that you're working on in this instance. And once you get that task done, move on to the next one. But oftentimes what we do is we get up and we look at the whole day, and that's overwhelming. Good morning, Tara. And instead of getting anything done by the end of the day, we've just been spinning our wheels because we were so overwhelmed by the thought of everything that we have to do that we didn't get the first task completed. So just show up when you think you've done all you can do. I promise you, if you keep showing up, that's half of the battle. But I don't mean just showing up that empty, shallow version of yourself. Y'all know the cover of my book. That's who I used to be. That shadow of a person just going through, just trying to make it. But when we have that kind of mindset, it really stifles us and we don't make any progress in life. And just show up when you flat out don't want to. Because sometimes we just don't want to. There have been times when I got up on Saturday mornings and I'm like, I don't want to go. I just don't want to. I'm like, I'm not tired. I'm not sore. I just don't want to go. I want to sleep in this morning. But we got to show up even when we don't want to. Just keep showing up. Show up when you don't know what to expect. Alvin and I have not done the same workout, not one single time. And when I tell you that I was scared beyond anything that I have ever experienced, because I didn't know if I was capable of doing it. I didn't know if I was going to pass out. I didn't know anything, but I did not know what to expect. And just this morning we were going, I don't know what we're going to do this morning. But I can guarantee you it's something I have never done before. But what I've learned is through all of the exercise and the continuing to show up because of the commitment that I made to myself 2 years ago, the one thing that I have learned is that I am capable of amazing things when I just show up. I showed up when I was scared. I showed up when I was tired. I showed up when I was feeling vulnerable. I showed up when I didn't want to. I showed up when I thought I had done all I could do, but I kept showing up. So this morning, I want you to keep showing up in your life. Show up. A change happens when you show up, but it might be in the instance, the example I'm giving this morning, the change has been in my physical body. I'm stronger today than I've been since I was in my 20s. But that's simply because I kept showing up. But the thing, yes, my physical body has changed. I can see the difference, and he's always telling me that he can see the difference. But more than anything, what changed about me over the course of that 2 years is my mindset. Shout out to Derek Becton, and he's the mindset guru. But my mind changed about me, what I'm capable of, and just how strong and how fierce I am. Because Alvin, in the beginning, he used to tell me, Kim, you're strong and you're flexible. You can do this. Well, the difference is now, when he says that, I believe him. It's like, but it was only because I kept showing up. And I know that if I got through that first workout, that first 100 workouts, I can get through the one this morning and I'll get through the next 100 one. Keep showing up in your life because you are so worth it. Whatever your show up is, mine is it's a multitude of things. It's showing up at events. I got invited to an event from the mayor of Mike Nightdale. I'm like, I don't know anything about politics. Well, I do. I vote, and I'm a conscientious voter, but I don't know, I always know all the players in the arena, and I can't tell you what bill specifically sometimes is going on this week. Good morning, Scotty. Gosh, I haven't seen you on a long time. I hope you're doing well. My one of Cole peeps. We graduated together, class of '89. Good morning, John. Oh, all my people from my home area are showing up. But keep showing up in your life because you are worth it. You are important. You matter. You no matter what is going on in your life, just keep showing up. So, guys, thank you for watching In the Garden with Joyful Living this morning and showing up. I keep showing up for this on every Saturday morning, not knowing who's going to be on here. Sometimes it's the same people. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's 20 people. Sometimes it's 3. But I keep showing up because, number one, this is something God told me to do, and I'm not going to stop doing it until he tells me to stop. But the other thing is to show up, because there are people who want to know what's going on in my garden, and then there are people who want to hear these tidbits, because sometimes this is for you and sometimes it's for me. So keep showing up in your life. When you're tired, when you're sore, when you just don't want to, when you're scared, when you're feeling vulnerable, show up in all those instances and watch what happens in your life. Your body will change, your mindset will change, something in your environment will change, whether that be your social environment, your romantic life will change, because when you show up in your relationships, it has a deep impact. And you know what? Sometimes showing up will show you that you're not with the right person. There, I said it. I did. But it's better that you learn that you're with the incorrect person now and move on than to get caught up in some good morning, Deb. Gosh, as I said, my Wanna Cove and Walkertown and Madison people, y'all really are showing up this morning. I appreciate you. Keep showing up in your life and watch and see what God does. Just astronomical things that I would have never dreamed of, would have never imagined, but it's only because I keep showing up. So guys, thank you for watching In the Garden with Joyful Living this morning. Please share the video. If you missed part of it, go back and watch the replay. But in your life, keep showing up, because you are important. You matter, no matter what your story is. Your story is important, but you're important regardless of what the story is. So I hope you all have a fantastic day. I am going to get out of here because I got to go show up for my workout. And then I got a whole day of things planned. But I love you all, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.